Serena here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a Jackson's Faux unboxing, meaning I've ordered the box and opened some of the supplies, but I haven't tried any of them yet, so all the supplies are still new. Now, I like watching other YouTubers' unboxings because it allows me to see some of the products I may not know about, and it gives me more detail than the catalog description. So if you'd also like to see different art supplies, come take a look. Now, first, this is something I have been waiting for. It's the Schmincke Horadam Aquarelle Watercolor Set. And this is a very common set. A lot of people get it. It's a 12 color set in a 24 metal pan. So you've got 12 spaces that you can also use for other colors that you want to get that will customize it. So let's take a look at this. I can feel right away the quality of the paints here because it's nice and heavy. But it's got a little color chart there. I like that they're not numbered because it's got the space for you to add your own. 4 wells in the top, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wells in the bottom, which is a nice size. It does have a lift-out pan, so you have additional wells. You've got 3, 6, 7 wells if you need them. And the colors, as they show on the back of the box, we've got lemon yellow, cadmium yellow light, cadmium red light, permanent carmine, ultramarine finest, Prussian blue, phthalo green, permanent green olive, yellow ochre, English Venetian red, sepia brown, and ivory black. So that's a nice set. You've got both warm and cool yellows and blues in this. So that's very nice. Now, I already bought some additional colors here that I'm going to use. Let's take a look at those. So here you've seen I bought some extra pans. These are just empty pans that I'm going to fill if I have any extra spaces left over. But I got these from Jackson's also. They're quite reasonable compared to what we can pay in the U.S., so I got some extra pans there. And the colors I have here, I always like to try to put them in order, but I never do. Okay, I've got chromium yellow deep, chromium yellow hue deep, cadmium orange light, gold brown, phthalo blue, transparent umber, cobalt turquoise, now that's a beautiful color, quinacridone purple, I always have trouble pronouncing that one, sap green, I almost said sea green, helio green, and purple magenta. So that's a nice complement to what I've already got there in the set. And this is the first professional set that I've really treated myself to, so I'm really looking forward to getting some swatching on that going. Now, the next thing I bought was something that is kind of frivolous, but it's inexpensive, and I wanted to have a way to get some water into my palette quickly instead of dipping the brush and dipping in the palette, dipping the brush, dipping into the palette. It just takes forever to do that if you need a large quantity of water. So I thought this would be a nice thing to do. I also got these for alcohol inks, which I use. So it helps with the alcohol, but you just have to keep the water and the alcohol separate. So I'll label them separate for each use. But they come 10 in a pack, and they're quite reasonable. I think they were like 75 cents or $1 US. They're not very expensive. They're meant to be toss-aways, but of course I wouldn't toss them. I'm going to use them over and over again, so there's more than I really need there. Then I purchased some tape. I like to make swatches with tape dividing the different areas of color and then pull the tape off at the end. It leaves a nice line, and I don't have to worry about going in the lines. I'm I'm one of those people that paints very neatly. If you saw my oil paint brushes, you'd be surprised they look almost new, whereas most oil painters have paint all the way up the brush and up the handle, and it's caked on so badly that you can't even see what size brush it is anymore. But mine are so pristine, they look brand new. So I like to keep my things very neat, and I use the tape for that. I also use the tape if I have a larger piece of paper, like a 9x12 or 18x24, anything like that, that I'm working on, where I want to do several small little panels or studies. So I'll use the tape to divide those off and keep them separate from each other. That way the paint doesn't spill over into the other areas. But I got a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch. This is actually the, let me see if it has a listing here. This is the low tack lining tape that Jackson's has. Okay, so I got some of those. Now, the next thing I got were brushes. I need so many brushes. I need some thin brushes, which I just got. But this is a very nice set. This is the first set I got from Jackson's. It's the Icon 3-brush set, and it comes with a number 2 quill, number 8 round, and a flat 1/2 inch. Now, I've never tried the flat. I've seen tutorials using the flat, and I really am excited to try it. The quill, I have tried the quill, and it is so thirsty. It sops up so much paint. It's wonderful for big washes, which I do in some of my landscape paintings and the skies and so forth. So if you do anything with big washes, I highly recommend getting some type of quill brush. But this gives you the idea that this is a number 2, so you can see how large it is. Probably a 000 is about the size of an 8 or a little larger, so that might be a good starter size, but I do like this for very large areas. Now, I got a number of papers from Jackson's. They carry the Hanamulla brand, and this one I've already opened because I just wanted to see what it was. I was so curious because it is with 15 sheets, 24 by 32 centimeters. It is their anniversary issue, and it's 200 pound or 425 GSM, so that's quite thick. We usually have 140 pound paper. This is 200 pound. I don't know if you can catch the texture on this. I'm hoping you can see the texture, but as thick as it is, it's quite thick. Let me see if you can see the thickness. Look at that. That's quite thick. It's really nice. I'm eager to start on that one and see what happens. See what I get out of it. All right. Now I also got something I have been looking for since my student days. I used to use Sanders watercolor paper, and for a while I could not find it anywhere. I stopped doing watercolors for a while and went to oils, and then I came back to watercolor, and I was so happy to see it at Jackson's, so I've decided to try it again. This one is 100% cotton. It's very good quality, mold made, acid-free archival, of course. It's 310 millimeters by 230, which is 12 by 9. It's 300 GSM, which is 140 pound. That's a standard weight. This one is made in England, but if it's the same as what I've had before, I'm going to be so happy. All right, now I do have some other pads in the Hanamulla line. This one is Cezanne. Now this one is 100% cotton. It's cold pressed, 300 GSM, 140 pound, and now this is the type of size. It's about a 9 by 12 or 24 by 32. This is the type of size that I will do some different, maybe 3 different panels, and I'll use my tape to divide them, or maybe even more. I might do 6 different, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I might do 6 different tests or panels to test different things. But this has a very nice texture to it as well. I can feel that right off. Very good quality. And it's a rip pad. It's a block. So they have a corner here. You can, when you're finished, you can just peel it off. I think it's just on the one corner, but it's bound on the other corners. And this one it does have 10 sheets, I believe. Yes, 10 sheets, it shows you there. Okay, and also from Hahnemuhle, I didn't open this one yet. This is Britannia. This is not 100% cotton. It comes with 12 sheets, 300 GSM, again 140 pound, roughly the same size, 9 by 12. It's cold pressed, so I just want to try a different brand, a different type. This is less expensive, much less expensive than the Cezanne, obviously because it is not 100% cotton. Now they have something else I really am excited to try. This is their bamboo. Now this is a mixed media paper. It's 125 pound, so it's not too thin. It's kind of nice. 24 by 32. It's 90% bamboo fiber and 10% cotton rag. So I'm going to be interested in doing this for my using this for my mixed media. And it does have 25 sheets. It's a little more expensive, but it does have 25 sheets, so it's very nice. It's not a block. They're sheets. The others I bought were blocks because I like to not have to just tape everything down. I like to carry it with me or lift it or move it. It makes it very easy when you have a block. You don't have to worry about stretching it, especially if it's a larger size. This is not in a block form. It's just paper. It's just straight sheets. But we'll see what happens. So we'll take a look at that. Now the next thing I got was a Studio Essential watertight folding plastic palette with 32 wells because I've been looking for something to replace my embarrassing palette that every artist starts out with, or every artist has at least one of, with caked on colors that get dusty and cat fur and whatever animal you might have in the house. It just gets horrible. There's no lid on it. There's not enough mixing trays. So I thought I would treat myself to this. It's very reasonable in price for what you get. It's not metal. It looks like metal, but it's not. It's plastic, but at least it does have a hinge to it. It's not that, I don't know what you would call it, that plastic that just if you open it, close it, open and close it, it gets plastic fatigue and breaks after a while. But, oh, that's nice. So you see quite a few wells here, 33 wells this has. A nice big mixing area. Let me see. Oh, it does have another one out. That's nice too. Look at that. It's got an extra mixing area that you can use if you want to have that, or just use the lid there. And these nice, they feel pretty thick, which is kind of nice. The only thing about plastic palettes, of course, is that they repel water. Just by the nature of the petrochemical they're made out of, they repel water, and you cannot really get a good feel for the consistency or the thickness of your paint. When working with watercolors especially, you need to know how much water you've got mixed with the paint. With palettes like these, they're very functional and they're very economical, but you've got the downside where you've always got to test the colors on a separate sheet before you put them on your paper, because you don't really know what saturation level you've got. But anyway, definitely an improvement over this. I'm not going to throw it away, of course, but I will be looking forward to using this here. Now, I also got some other things that Jackson's has. Now, if there are any of these products that you'd like me to test out, or to let me know if you like this video, leave me a comment below and be sure to hit the subscribe button. Now, I got a I think this was like 10 or 11 cents. It's just basically, that probably doesn't even cover their shipping or printing costs, but it was just so that people, I guess, don't hoard them. It's for the Schmincke Hard and Aquarelle watercolors that I got, and it's got all kinds of information on the different colors provided here. It gives you the light fastness, all kinds of different, whether they're opaque or transparent. Look at the graininess. You can even see the graininess in the in the color swatches here, and they're pretty true to color, so that's nice. When you have a guide like this, it really helps. And then listing, of course, there are other products that they have, and the other, every artist out there is drooling over these. The other sets that they also offer. So this was a nice little handout that I purchased. They also have Watercolor Catalog. I think they have pastels, and oil color, I believe. They might have one other, but this is the one I really was after. It gives you a listing of most of the watercolor brands that they carry and a breakdown of the color swatches, some of the sets that they offer. It probably is not totally inclusive. They probably have a larger selection online, but it gives you, look at that, watercolor sticks, tubes, even powders. I know Schmincke has powders. I have a couple of them actually, in fact, myself. Watercolor pencils. So this is quite extensive. Drawing pens, look at that. That's nice, which has nothing to do with watercolor except for the people like me that use watercolor, use ink pen for watercolor painting to outline the design first. Now, the paper description is quite extensive. I like that. It's got everything on the papers that they carry. Then a whole listing of the brushes. This was very helpful when I went to buy more brushes from them because it gives you a good description. It shows you what they have. It's kind of easier than flipping through the website. Sometimes that can just be daunting. You can just spend hours on a website looking for the right thing, and it's hard to compare side by side. With something like this, you can say, well, I like this one, but how does it compare with that? You know, so you can look back and forth, and it's very easy to see the difference. And then in the end, they have some other additives and palettes, of course, and some other things that may be on your wish list, easels and so forth. But that's very nice. It's the Watercolor Catalog. Then they also carry a materials guide, which I wanted to splurge on. This was a little expensive, but I wanted to see what it had in it. It's got a little bit on everything, a little bit on oil paint. There's a highlight in this issue on oil color manufacture. It talks about solvent safety, acrylic paint. You've got quite a few different gouache, watercolor, quite a few different things talked about in this one. Just a general guide to some of the things that they carry at Jackson's. Not inclusive at all. If you go on the website, of course, you're looking at papers, you're looking at canvas. They've got a lot more on the website that you can see. And of course, palettes, that's not inclusive there as well. But a nice little guide, some light reading for anybody who likes painting and colors and art supplies. Now, one thing about Jackson's that I like is they have samples. They have quite a few samples available. Some of these cost anywhere from maybe like 25 or 50 cents to, you can get them on up to $30. But for these small little samples, like this one, I got the Stonehenge Aqua. It's got a little bit of everything in here. And it's a nice enough size to be able to see what the paper looks like. This was $2.90, I believe, but it's got 4 different papers. It's got the Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press 140 pound. Look at that beautiful texture there. And of course you can use both sides. So you can test on both sides if you want to just do some swatching and then maybe do an actual painting, small little mini painting. But it's got the 140 pound, then it's got the hot press 140 pound, the hot press 275 pound, which is a bit thicker. That's a nice thickness there. Then it's got a cold press 300 pound. That one is, I mean, it's almost like, it's thicker than Bristol board. It's quite thick, which I'm excited to work on that. And the surface is on both sides, so that's very nice. I like that. So I got those. Then they had these cute little pads here. I just I saw these and I had to get some. So we have the Aqua Hot Press. This is for watercolor, obviously. But there's a lot of pages in here, even though they're a little small. They're almost like artist trading cards. But it gives you an idea of what the texture is, and you can try it with different things. It gives you enough pages to try with, with different things. So I've got that. I've got the black Aqua Cold Press, which has a little bit of a texture to it. I wanted to try this because I've got my hands on some neon paints and some gold paints, gold and metallic paints, just for fun, just to play with. But I do some journaling, so it would be handy for that to see how those paints show up. This one is a warm white. I don't know if it is a... It feels a little thin. I think this is more of a sketch pad. I don't think it's a... No, it's a little... No, it is a little thick. It might be a watercolor. I'll have to look that up and see what they deem this as. Another small one here. This is the colors range. This would be good for drawing, perhaps pastels. It's got 4 different colors. That one's almost the same, a little yellowish. Good thickness, nice thickness to it. So that one I'll be looking forward to trying. And then here's the cotton. This is cotton one. It's cited for graphite, pastel, colored pencil, and charcoal. So that's pretty thick too, but I wouldn't use it for water. It's obviously not for that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.